We have a frozen screen.
Well, we froze again. I was going to say, baby, it's cold outside, but I understand you can't say that anymore.
You can't say that anymore.
All right, so.
Probably can't even say
but
frozen.
our screen freezes, and here we are.
Here we are.
So welcome to the feed. It's the 19th. That's our last show before Christmas, and it's going to be a good one because we're going to have Johanna here. She's going to tell us how to stay healthy through the holidays and through the winter months. So stay tuned. But first, Marty's going to go over some local events.
Yeah, tonight at the Opera House is the classic movie Holiday Inn, which is not White Christmas. I know everyone's disappointed that it's not White Christmas because traditionally that's what would show this right before Christmas. They were not able to get White Christmas this year, so they're doing Holiday Inn, which is still a Bing Crosby movie. There is still White Christmas sung in the movie Holiday Inn.
Which is an interesting thing. Did it come first to White Christmas, or did it come first to Holiday Inn?
I don't know.
That they would use that iconic, song
Yeah,
for two movies.
well, from what I read about
With the same people.
Holiday Inn, it's a year sequence, and every holiday has a big song, a big Irving Berlin song in it. And White Christmas was the big, probably the biggest song that came from it. So my guess is that came first, and then was used in White Christmas. I don't know. And then it's also on Friday night is not just for men's night. So men, if you were feeling left out last Friday night during ladies' night, this is your night, not just for men's night. Friday night downtown BF, same thing. A lot of the merchants are going to have some beverages and food out, and there'll be lots of activity because it's 3FBF, so it'll be open studio at all of the artists. There's usually a big music jam down. If you go down Canal Street at Mark Raganese place, there's a big music jam. So there's lots happening this Friday night. And I think, again, the weather I think is going to cooperate. So
Yeah. And isn't this our last show for the year?
This is our last show for the year because we're not going to be on next week.
Next week the station's going to be closed, so there will be no. The feed will be rebroadcast throughout the week,
Right.
but it won't be a new show next week because
No.
it'll be the day after Christmas.
So for the three of you that are watching,
For the Millers,
For the
who I've
Millers,
forgotten to do a shout out to.
Shout out.
All
So
right.
Chris and Tom, I know you're going to be sad, but you're going to have to watch reruns of us.
That's right. And as we drone on, I heard of an exciting event this morning that at the Haas house, the Haas's and the Bergmans are getting together on New Year's Day, and they're going to do a feed marathon combined with the Cellar Hole Investigators marathon. So if you want to do something like that, just let us know. And
That's better than Netflix.
That's better than watching
Netflix.
football all day. You should have a feed marathon.
So we are coming into the big push of the holiday season where people just get stressed to the max. So what's your number one suggestion?
Number one, why don't you introduce yourself again? 'Cause for those who didn't see you the first time you were on the feed.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm Dr. Johanna Ryan. I'm a naturopathic physician here. I practice at 11A Hospital Court. I have my own private practice there. And so you've asked me to talk about a few things regarding how to get through the holidays. And I've touched upon what I consider foundations of health, and anybody who works with me knows that I talk about this stuff all the time. I'm not really one of those practitioners who's into the fads, so if you're looking to follow a fad and you want me to follow along with you, it's probably not the best fit. But one of the things I've got down here is eating. That's always one of the things. I think around this period of time, probably from Thanksgiving on through New Year's, can be a really tough time for people. There's so much temptation, wouldn't you agree?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Between what might be offered in the workplace and then what's happening at home, and if you're socializing at other people's places too, it could be very tempting. So my premise is I don't like it when people say they're on a diet. I would prefer that what people are doing is aiming for better eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even thinking about going into the new year is like, what are some new foods you could introduce into the diet, but into your regular eating. But again, this isn't the time to diet. One of the other suggestions I had was don't starve yourself the day of like Christmas or the day of New Year's.
Because you'll eat
You'll
more.
want to gorge,
Yeah.
you'll overeat for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but we've all probably had that instance of where you're really regretful afterwards,
Mhm.
you know.
But
No, I mean, never.
didn't you say that there's isn't there an average amount of weight that people gain over?
I was doing research for, we're doing a little game at Greater
Yes.
Rock. We're doing a burn to earn. So they're tracking the calories they burn, and then they can earn their holiday treats. So you're kind of like at zero
Yes,
balance. And the average, believe it or not, the average gain was only a pound
Over the holiday.
over the holidays.
Okay.
But what was interesting about the article was that pound didn't necessarily go away in the new year. Like, you didn't necessarily
Okay.
lose
It's
that
a
pound.
permanent pound.
Well, I don't think it was a permanent pound.
Well,
But so that, cumulatively,
Mhm.
every time you kind of have these holiday, events and you gain a pound, but it doesn't go away, then cumulatively it can be a, the kind of the bigger picture weight gain. That weight gain that creeps up on us.
Right,
That doesn't
exactly.
happen
That
all at
is-
once.
Right.
And that's the one I think that is, as you're saying, best addressed through smart eating,
Yeah.
better
Right,
eating, not
right.
dieting, but better eating
Right.
in the big picture.
So would it be fair to say that the approach that you espouse would be, instead of trying to deprive yourself of things, change what you eat so that you're always satisfied eating, but you're eating healthier?
Exactly. I often will give this image to patients too, just if you think about your dinner plate, and I'd say divide it into thirds, like a third is your vegetable, a third is your complex carbohydrate or your good starch, and then a third is your protein. So it's an easy visual, and what I find is when people are making selections like that, they feel more satisfied
Mm-hmm.
and their blood sugar is more balanced. So if we're starving ourselves and then we finally, we're at the place where we're going to be eating, part of that reaction of like just trying to get as much food into your mouth is
Yeah, exactly.
your blood
Yeah.
sugar's low, and it really is like your body's in survival mode of trying to get anything in your mouth so that the blood sugar goes to a normal level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So by keeping it more balanced, people will say, I feel really satisfied with having followed what you said. But in any case, I'm just not a person who is in favor of dieting. It's more of like, what can you do to incorporate healthier
Yeah.
food choices? So
And because in the long run, you're more likely to do that. If you, instead of saying, well, I'm on a diet, but I'm only on a diet for 3 weeks, and then
Right.
I'm gonna go off the diet, and then I'm gonna go on a different diet for 3 weeks, and then,
right, and
Yeah.
you must know people too. Like, and they could be of varying ages, but they've maintained the same weight like through their entire lives. And if you ask them, this is what they've always done. They've never veered from
yeah.
from that. It's just been a regular way of how they conduct their
Yeah,
eating.
yeah. So are there different foods you would introduce? Like, things like, do you say like, well, you should try this, and then maybe you won't feel like having something else? Or is
Yeah,
it
you know
just,
what? I saw an article recently, and I thought this was like so this is just my personal opinion. I thought it was like the worst suggestion, but it said like if you're having pie, to put like Greek plain yogurt on top of it. I don't know about you, but to me those tastes like I don't see how that would even go
Yeah.
and be like pleasurable.
although people like cheese on pie.
Well, but I don't know. I mean,
That's
I guess,
different than Greek
but
yogurt. It's got
Yeah.
that kind of,
yeah, it has that
that
real
acidity,
tart,
yeah.
real tart,
Yeah.
very acidic. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a good fit
Why
for me.
do you have an idea
so
why
then
they
you
would say?
yeah, so then you wouldn't eat the pie.
I know.
See,
I think
there
that's the ultimate
there's
goal.
logic
I'm
there.
not certain actually, but I think they were thinking it would be a healthier choice to the
Uh-huh.
whipped cream
Oh yeah,
people
maybe
are
that's
using.
it. Yeah. Or ice
healthier.
cream or something
Yeah,
else.
but I don't know. I mean,
But I
my
think Marty
thing.
hit on it.
My thing would be if you want the pie, maybe try for a smaller piece at
Yeah,
first and a
yeah.
smaller little bit of the whipped cream or something. I don't know. So substitutions I'm not always, they don't always appeal to me.
Mhm.
But my thing would be if like you're having the meals, like have as many vegetables as you can possibly have with, because really for protein wise, we're not supposed to have too much.
Yeah,
I think
right.
our
Oh, yeah.
population eats a little bit more than's necessary. Usually they say like the palm of your hand, 3 ounces, 4 ounces, maybe 6 depending on if
Mhm.
you're a man who's really active. But so then the rest of it should be like your vegetables and your good starches. So
And I think I can speak a little bit to kind of what you just asked, and because I've been working with you, I did the cleanse this fall, and the biggest thing that came out of it for me, because I'm definitely a diet or go on a certain meal plan, and then, you know, temptation comes up, I go off the rails. And if I go off the rails a little bit, if I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound. No pun intended. But so that I then go crazy. And what you talked about with dividing the plate up, I actually kind of put it up at doing rice bowls. I hadn't been doing carbohydrates in the evening. I had been doing like double vegetables and a protein, and it wasn't really satisfying me. So then I was getting, and then I would try to do the same thing. Like if I was in a situation, I would personally try to have lots of vegetables and some protein, and I would skip the healthy grain. And for me personally, and I think you have to figure it out a little bit for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do some experimentation. Having the grain and doing grain bowls, like it's either quinoa or rice, and then vegetables and topped with some protein and a type of sauce. That has been my savior during this season. I've been able to get through Thanksgiving and have Thanksgiving treats and a little bit of pie and some stuffing and some things. But then I had that to go back to. And I think that's what sometimes people don't have. They go off the rails and they're not sure how they can get back onto their food plan. And especially if you think about healthy eating and food plan versus dieting. Like I'm going to go back to my normal eating, and I've done the same thing with going to some Christmas parties. The very next day, back to my grain bowls, and it's been working. I had an initial weight loss from doing the things that we did in the 6-week cleanse, and then I haven't had a gain. I've fluctuated a little bit, like you fluctuate a little bit daily with water weight, but I haven't. And I think that having that kind of smart eating, just saying, okay, because you're right, depriving and saying I can't have it just sets you up for failure. So I think if you can just think, okay, I'm going to have this, but then I'm going to go back. It's like a blip, and I'm going to go back to my normal eating. It doesn't define me for the rest of my So I think that's kind of the
I guess that's what I'm saying.
kind of what I
like,
think you were asking.
Yeah,
is what,
because you know, there's some things that you may try that, because I was a picky eater when I was a kid. I never tried a lot of things, and I try them now, and I find that I like cauliflower. I never ate cauliflower as a kid. That was like.
Well, because back when you were
Yeah.
a kid, they boiled, it was boiled and bushy.
But but I sort of like cauliflower now, and it's something that I can do just that. Is I can eat that instead of, and I enjoy it, and it's good.
See, and that's why I think these plans that are out there and these fads that are out there, they don't fit everyone. I think you two are attesting to that you have figured out for yourselves what works and what foods you like and how you can put things together so that you feel more satisfied and you don't feel the temptation. I mean, I think it's fine to enjoy the foods at the holiday, but smartly.
Are there any other tips that you have besides eating, like for dealing with like holiday stress, like some lifestyle things you can do? Yeah,
so one of the things I had put down here was trying to delegate more. So I was thinking back when I was a kid. I'm from a large family, and I remember my mom would ask if some of us could help with the older ones. I'm one of the older children. If some of us could help with the wrapping of the presents, so that it wasn't just on her. And so I thought that was, so my older sister and I would sit down and help with that. And I thought that was really good of her to ask, because it'd just be so much for her to try to do something, on top of running the house on a daily basis. So, and with cooking and things like that, I know in our family, because since my mom is elderly now, when we get together for family gatherings, we are divvying up food preparation so that someone will be in charge of the main dish, or like the meat or whatever is being served, and then the rest of us are bringing all the sides. So it's really nice, actually. It does, so the burden doesn't fall on one person, and then we get to experiment with everybody's dishes too. So it gives us something to look forward to, like, what did so and so bring?
Right,
I really try that.
Something that you might not normally try.
Exactly.
And then you might try and be like, oh, this is something new in my
Exactly. So it's fun. I mean, I think for us and our family, everybody looks forward to it. So it's a really nice way. So I just put out there what could you do in your household where you could try to delegate things. I mean, the delegation I think could go outside of the home too. So maybe in the workplace, if there's a way to delegate more, so you're not feeling so stressed at work. That type of thing. I do think movement or exercise or something where you're getting out of this still body and moving it, because the stress, I think, for most of us gets internalized, and there is a point at which it will find its way out. So rather than having an anxiety attack or bursting out in anger or something like that, incorporating some kind of movement. And it really could be anything: stretching, walking, running, whatever it is that works for you, I think is really good to consider. And then I do think, regardless of your personality type, because there are those of us that will be more internal, those of us who really are more externally based, where you really love the connection and just doing things. I really do believe, regardless of the personality type, it's important to find your way of decompressing or de-stressing, meaning quiet time.
Right.
So something where you're by yourself and there's some time. It doesn't have to be terribly long, but just where you're recharging, regenerating. I think whether you're an extrovert or introvert, we all need some form of that. And I feel like when I work with people, that's the piece that never gets addressed.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Well, I think during the holiday season, there's some people that definitely it's not their season, and but there's this need or this feeling that everybody has to be on and everybody has to be happy, and there's expectations of what should happen at the holiday season, and not everybody. That's not the place for everybody.
Right,
So maybe honoring that and taking some time for yourself. If you're not a person that's on, that likes to be on. Some people that's like their thing. They love to be in the
of
holiday
course.
season.
Yeah.
But I think that's an important point,
Right.
taking that time. And I think that's the one thing we're probably...
Well, it's almost an expectation. I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's our society or what we watch on TV, if it's sort of like, oh, everybody's going to get together and be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
And-
Well, like if you watch
It's
any
like,
of the...
well, no, not
Any
really.
of the gazillion Lifetime movies or
Right.
Hallmark
never
movies,
watched
never watch those if you have because you
You're
will
gonna
be
set
so
up a false
this false
expectation.
expectation of what your
Yeah.
holiday should look like. Exactly.
Yeah,
It
and so
just
maybe
never
for the
will.
quieter and more introverted person, maybe they're not at the event for 5 hours. Maybe they go for 2 or 3 hours. So if it is like a sit-down meal, maybe you're timing it where when's the actual sit-down time, and there's like a little bit of time before and a little bit of time after. But
Bye-bye.
yeah, but I think we all know it's like when we take care of that part of ourselves, if we feel a lot better.
Yeah, you'll be better during it.
Yes.
Because you
yes.
won't be stressed out about, wow, this is really long.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are some people, I'm one of those people too, there needs to be like quiet time for me to recharge. I can't be around people 100% of the time because it's just not the way I move in this world. And so I know there are others out there like that. So just like you said, Marty, just really honoring that.
Honoring it and being okay with it. Saying like
Yes.
I'm okay, I'm going to, I need to go home and I need to, just quietly chill or do a little bit of that. I think that's an important thing. And I think that the holiday time brings out that stress in people sometimes, and then the pressure to be with everybody. So it kind of
Yes.
doubles, it kind of
Yes.
escalates. So
Right.
if you can just realize it ahead of time, and you don't have to be, you can just quietly leave, be like, oh, I'm just going to go home now or whatever.
Right,
Or, like you said, come a little bit later. Wait till the main event. Don't be there for
Right.
it. And then
Yeah,
see how you
yeah.
feel afterwards,
Right.
or time it, because so that you're getting the best. They're getting the best of you, and you're getting the best of what's
exactly.
going on.
I like how you've just said that. The other thing too is I think a lot of times around this holiday season, is especially if there's like issues going on within someone's family, is there's a tendency, I feel like, that people feel not connected to things. And I think if we expand that definition of like connectedness to open that up to other things. So, for example, if you have a pet, like a dog or a cat, nowadays, a lot of people have dogs today compared to when I was a child. I don't feel like a lot of people were really pet-oriented. So it's really neat, I think, to see the change of people with their dogs and cats and other types of animals. But, I think anybody who's ever had a pet, or if you are a lover of animals, whether you have one or not, you know that there's a connection that's made with either one. I mean, think dogs more
so than cats.
It's more,
We-
it's more of
Well,
we're not
something.
going to say.
We're not going to talk about cats.
but
Yeah, I
I think
know what
all
you
of
mean.
you've
We had-
experienced, like, the dogs especially love to connect with people. So I consider that a connection, and You know, I feel like with dogs there is like that unconditional.
Unconditional love. They're
Yeah,
always there
exactly.
for you.
You know, it's like, you know, whereas a person might be judgmental, it's like, wow, you know, you really have that element of it. So if you're a cat lover, enjoy the time with your cat. Certainly get together with family or friends, coworkers, you know, people that you do really connect with. And then also not forgetting like your places of worship, or if you follow a spiritual tradition or anything like that, that there, you know, those are other places to consider that too, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be like the whole family getting together, but what are other ways in which you can connect with other people, or going for a walk even, you know, I do run into people who say they're really connected to being outdoors and they need to get outdoors. You know, like consider those aspects too of giving you a feeling of being connected.
Grounded, you'd be
Yeah,
grounded and going out,
One of the other things I wanted to mention too is just about overall immune health.
Yeah,
And
because
just-
that carries forth through the year.
It does, and it's like through the fall, like into the winter and so on. And one of the first things, I know people get tired of hearing about this, but washing your hands a lot and just with regular soap and water. Because, you know, just the sheer fact that we all exist in the world, I mean, there's just a lot, there are germs and things like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we just stave off a lot when we keep our
Do
hands.
you recommend actually washing the hands more so if you can than the hand sanitizer?
Yes,
Okay.
I think it just regular soap and water, and as frequently as possible. You know, like if you're out, you know, out and about, when you come home, wash your hands. If you've been in a public area where you've touched various surfaces, wash your hands. Just because
Becoming
there are people who don't wash their hands, so I mean,
Right,
you can count on the germs being there. One time I was taking a flight and I had my hand sanitizer towelettes and I was wiping down, you know, because you know, I mean, they tell you.
They say it's the worst in the
yeah,
world.
I mean, it's like, talk
That's
about
like being
germ,
in a
germ
restroom.
heaven, yeah. And I remember one
I'm
time,
not trying to be crude, but it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you pack 50 people
I know,
into
one
it.
day, so I was wiping down and this woman was looking at me like I was, you know, had like OCD, and it wasn't that. It's like, don't you know, it's like this, you know, if we were to like swab it and then put it in the petri dish and let it grow, it's like we probably wouldn't want to see
Yeah,
the
you
end
wouldn't.
result. So I'm just really in favor of that. I
That's
think people tend to be healthier when you are, you know, washing
Mhm.
your
We
hands.
kind of forget about it, I think, too. I think we
Yeah.
go more towards hand sanitizer because it's quick and easy.
Right.
But you can do it better. So we are getting low on time.
Yeah,
Zip through. But we do want to, for people that don't know where you're
Where
located.
you are
yes,
located,
some
we wanted to
pictures.
show, this is the building where your office is. It happens to be where my office is. And
Which happens to be where Greater Rock is. It's the
yeah, it's
Pro
where
building
Greater
right
Rock
across
is,
from
and it's up
Ross.
at Hospital Court. And let's see. And then as you go in, you can find her. That you go down the stairs. It's a little guided
It's a
tour.
little guided tour.
Whoops! What happened?
And so if people wanting to come and see you, what is the best way to connect with you?
The best way would be to call me, 802-732-8428, because it's, at the moment, it's just me, so it'd be best to reach me by the telephone, and then I
Okay.
will call back.
And then they can, if someone was wanting to change their food plan and change their food outlook, that would be something they could do. You offer craniosacral work, you work with like a regular physician, all kinds of options, so.
And I also have a body worker coming, an energy worker coming in on Thursday. She does Reiki, and
Oh,
she works
really?
with crystals and chakra healing and
nice.
so on. So, yeah, call the office. Her name's Amy Davis. She's
Is-
from the
has she-
area.
Okay, has she been coming all along, or is
She's
this
been there
relatively
since
new?
December,
Oh,
yeah,
great.
beginning of this
Wonderful.
month. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, so I mean, she's
Nice.
really a great asset, you know, because.
Maybe we could have you
Yeah,
both
maybe
back
you
to
guys
talk
should come
about,
back and talk
to
about
talk
that.
about what that exactly
Excellent.
is, because
Yeah.
a lot of people,
Yeah.
they don't know what that might mean.
Perfect.
So perfect.
That's excellent, and thank you for coming
Yeah,
on,
thank
and
you.
enjoy
Appreciate
the
it.
holidays,
Thank you,
and
too.
yeah, thank you for all the great hints.
And happy holidays to all of you out there. Thanks for supporting
All
the
right.
feed. We'll see you in
See you, Bellas
2019.
Bye.
That's it, folks, for the feed. Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Also, find us on Facebook at Fact TV, or tell us what you think. thefeed8@gmail.com. And don't forget to watch the feed online at www.fact8.com.